In this film, guys, we shall be taking a look at the newest Spider-Man movie in the Spider-Man franchise, which is Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. So without further ado, let's get into today's review. So I thought then that this Spider-Verse movie sequel was amazing. It was phenomenal. It had everything to make it a good Spider-Man movie. What it did well was manage to have plot twist after plot twist after plot twist, and then ending with a cliffhang was just the way to do it. And I've never really seen that level of a movie done before, where it goes, it's a slow burner at first, and to describe how a slow burner is, it feels like a movie that shouldn't have been made at first. It feels like, oh, it's just a bang average sequel to that movie. It's just average. It's all right. Don't get me wrong. It's good. However, in that middle part and then the end, let's turn it up to about 100. I don't know what happens, but the suspense builds up. You're feeling for the characters, and you're not sure how things are going to go. And after you hear the first plot twist of basically the fact that things are written in stone, and that when Miles breaks one of those sort of moments in time in this particular universe, it sort of sets the universe into a massive downward spiral. And that weren't really a plot twist as such. That was just like an eye-opener going, whoa, did not expect that one to happen. In a way you did, in a way you didn't. It was sort of one of those where it's the obvious thing, I guess, but you didn't put two and two together. It was weird. And then after that, you go straight into these massive plot twists as we find out that Miles is in fact not meant to be Spider-Man. And it blows your melon because that spider wasn't meant to bite that version of Miles. I think it was meant to bite the Miles in the universe that he ends up going to at the end of the movie and gets trapped there when he thinks it's home. And I think that was amazing because they turn around and say that if Miles didn't become Spider-Man, that other Spider-Man that dies in the first one would still be alive. And that was just sort of like a blowing of the melon right there, and I loved it. I think that progression of the characters in that manner and the suspense building around that was just awesome. And there's no better way to put that, and I love that element of things, because he were quite quiet at the beginning of the movie. There weren't none of this. This comes at the end, it explodes in the middle part all the way to the end. And then we also find out that not only did the main guy, McGill, was keeping the secret from him, but also Gwen, also the Spider-Man who helps him in the first one to train him up and stuff. Those two versions of Spider-Man knew that he wasn't meant to be Spider-Man. And that's why they couldn't go to him, or they shouldn't go towards him in this movie and can't get to him for whatever reason. The reason was that they didn't want to give him away because he was an anomaly that wasn't meant to happen, and in fact changed several courses of history by doing, well, not what he did, what that spider, however it got into the universe, did to Miles, and that sort of sent all this into madness, in which I want them to go into that in further detail in the next one to see how mad it's gonna get, because it was like, it's gonna be a disaster, sort of like the Back to the Future thing of you step on something the wrong way, it's gonna change another reality and it's gonna cause another wavelength. And I wonder if something similar is gonna happen in this third Spider-Verse movie. Cannot wait. And then the last plot twist, if you want to call it a plot twist, is that Spider-Man ends up going back home. He thinks he's gone back home using the spider DNA of himself, which sends him back home. However, it sends him to another alternate universe after thinking that he's talking to his real mum and saying that he is Spider-Man. Does he then fucking realise that he's in the wrong universe because his father is actually dead and his uncle is still alive? And not only that, the version of himself, but he also is Prowler, and that wasn't expected. And him not being in the right universe sort of was but wasn't. It was like the first one where I said he's sort of a plot twist but isn't, but it's very obvious. I think that was just an amazing built up suspense, and then it left it on a cliffhanger with Gwen trying to save him and the rest of these Spider-Men sort of guys after him, and there's a team building with Gwen. and the Spider-Man who trained him and a few others trying to find Miles, and Miles is held captive by himself and his uncle, in which was just bizarre. And that's how it ended. And I think it was just a great ending all round. And we felt that in the cinemas, just going, you know, there's going to be a to be continued right coming up, because it felt that it was going on to a different plot angle. It felt it was moving on. So moving on then, I really liked the relationship building, because really we thought that this movie was just going to be about Gwen and Miles somehow getting together, in which it was. However, it wasn't. As the movie started that way, as a gap opened where there weren't really much of villainly activity apart from Halsey, which at the time didn't really feel like a massive threat. And I think those two coming together was inevitably gonna happen in this movie until they meet a big problem when they both go into the like multiverse of madness sort of thing going on. And I think he just wanted to follow her in there and then get to know her a little bit better and then eventually go out and things. However, that didn't happen because Miles then loses trust in her after finding out that Gwen actually kept a secret from him of him not actually being a proper Spider-Man in that retrospect, as that spider was not meant to bite Miles from that universe. And I think it was just something where Miles just got annoyed, and I think their relationship blew up in that moment. However, I do think they're going to return back to that relationship in the third one, and I think it's probably going to be inevitable that them two are going to get together in that movie, unless they come up with another suggestion and another cliffhanger where they're going to leave it to a fourth movie, but we'll wait and see. On another thing, which was only a small thing, so I'm not going to spend too much time talking about it, was the little clips of Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire being used in this movie to show that things are meant to be fixed in time, and they basically used the death of Uncle Ben to explain the scenario that Miles has got himself into. And in doing that, they showed little clips from Andrew Garfield, obviously, with the copper from the Amazing Spider-Man movie, and also Uncle Ben, as well as Tobey Maguire with Uncle Ben. And I think those just little nods to those two great actors who played Spider-Man once. And I think these constant nods in these Spider-Man movies I like, because it just shows they're not forgetting about the history of Spider-Man, and then whoever's in their shoes is filling those shoes with those in mind of who's previously played them. And I think that was good. I think paying homage to them like that, I really like. So I wanted to leave this one sort of till last, which was the villains, in which were weird. As we started off with, Holes was presented really as the main villain, in which he didn't feel like that main villain sort of status of a villain. Like last movie we saw Kingpin, and he's a massive villain, and we saw a version of Dr. Octavius, and we saw different versions of iconic different villains. However, this one was just a guy filled with holes, and I don't know if his name was Holes, but we're just going to refer him to as Holes. And he wasn't the best, he weren't the most exciting of villains, and that's why the first half of the movie suffers a little bit from that, because in a way you're wanting some really cool combat scenes between the villain, Miles. However, we didn't really get that. We got average, sort of joking around, sort of villainly scenes with Holes, and then that's when Miguel pops up later down the line, in which he is the proper villain in my opinion. And I think in the next movie it's going to be interesting with Miguel in there and with Holes in there, see how it works. But finally, I thought the actors and actresses were brilliant, as we saw the likes of Shameik Moore, Hailee Steinfield, Oscar Isaac, Lauren Velez, Jake Johnson, Issac Rae, Andy Samberg, Daniel Kaluuya, Jason Schwartzman, Mahershala Ali, Jack Quaid, J.K. Simmons, and Donald Glover, in which were all exceptional as their characters and did an amazing job in this amazing movie. So to summarize this movie then, I felt that it was a quality sequel to the Spider-Verse movie. Hence why I rate this movie an 8.5 and a classic film out of 10. So let me know down in the comments down below what your thoughts are. Is it good? Is it bad? Is it amazing? Is it the worst film you've ever seen? Let me know down in the comments down below, please. Also, we have noticed not enough people have been smashing that subscribe button, so don't forget to do that. Also, hit that like button, hit that notification bell, and we shall see you guys in the next one. Laters.